Now that Tom Brady has retired from the game of football, do you think there are any quarterbacks in this new generation that can rival what Tom Brady achieved in his career?
So I mean, it's a basic answer, and I mean, I'm just going to come out and say it. The closest one that could possibly rival anything close to Tom Brady's, I guess, career-ending like resume would have to be Patrick Mahomes. Pat's already got an MVP. Pat's already got a Super Bowl. Pat's got a Super Bowl MVP. And the only reason I say it is because the other ones haven't been there yet. Joe just got there, so we don't know the results with that. Josh Allen has not been able to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Obviously, Justin Herbert hasn't made the playoffs yet. Lamar Jackson can't shake, well, not only injury this season, but he hasn't been able to perform in the postseason, let's just say. And then, the other quarterbacks that are up and coming, Kyler Murray shit the bed. I mean, you name it. There's just so many other people that I can't sit here and say, you know what? In 5 years, he could potentially be Brady. So again, as basic and generic as the answer of Patrick Mahomes is, it's really not much of a competition at this point in their careers. In the, I guess, like you said, the crop of quarterbacks, only one of them has shown really historic success. And of course, Patrick wins the Super Bowl in his third year because his first year he sat behind Alex. The second year is when he won the MVP, and obviously the Chiefs lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship. So, I mean, he's closest to following suit outside of, again, Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow has yet to either win or lose a Super Bowl with that being 2 weeks out. So I hate to be basic, but Patrick Mahomes is the closest and only thing that we have right now to base anything off of. Arm talent, we all know he's probably better. Mobility, he's probably better. But in terms of actually winning and following the legacy that Tom has left behind, Pat Mahomes is the closest and only guy around, man.
Yeah, so the way that I see it, I pretty much agree with you 100% that it's probably only Patrick Mahomes. Now, granted, these young quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, they've got a lot of time left in their respective careers. But when I look at Patrick, he's probably the best one that has somewhat of a chance to be able to rival Tom Brady. I'm not even talking about exceeding what Tom achieved in his career. I'm just talking about rivaling it. Because, I mean, let's just get the generic stuff out of the way. Brady's got 7 Super Bowl titles. I don't know if anybody's even going to get close to that mark. Because when you look at the entire landscape of NFL history, pretty much before Tom Brady, getting 4 Super Bowl titles, that was an amazing feat. That was rare air if you were able to get 4. And Tom really shattered the mold in that regard by not only getting his 5th, but respectively, he got his 6th one and his 7th one at the end of his career. And then when you look at just the longevity and what he was able to establish as far as just consistency for over 2 decades, that is going to be really tough to top. Now, statistically, now that you have the added game compared to what Tom had, because Tom primarily played 16 games in a season up until his final season, statistically, maybe those records can be broken as far as passing yards go, maybe passing touchdowns as well. But that might be it. As far as overall impact, I don't think anybody is going to exceed what Tom did, because no matter what he had around him or who he had around him, the success followed every step of the way. Early on in his career, won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years to start off his career. And even despite the fact in the middle of his career, he didn't have any Super Bowl titles, he was still one of, if not the best quarterback in that time frame. And then, as far as I'm concerned, he had the best finish that I've ever seen in an NFL player's career ever. And then when you look at just Patrick Mahomes at this current point in time, Patrick is 26 years old. And Patrick has gotten off to a really good start. The stats reflect that. He already has a Super Bowl ring, like you mentioned, has a Super Bowl MVP. Now, can he continue that type of success once he gets into his late 20s, early and mid 30s? I think that there's definitely a chance that he can do that. It's just, to me, I don't know if anybody's going to reach the longevity aspect that Tom did. To play 22 seasons is amazing. We've never really seen any sort of NFL player be able to do that. Tom's really the only one. And despite the fact that I think Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert, like these are some really good up and coming quarterbacks. I don't know if any of them are going to make it that long. Talk about 22 years. You would have to basically devote half of your life to just stay in the NFL and then essentially dominate the entire time. Because even though, despite the fact that Tom lost 3 Super Bowls out of the 10 Super Bowl appearances, he essentially dominated the NFL during his time. He dominated the AFC East. It almost seemed like every other year, Brady was in the AFC Championship game, and pretty much 1 every 2 years, Brady was damn near in a Super Bowl. It was almost 1/5 of all the Super Bowls that have been played. Tom Brady had been in one of them, or been in 1/5 of them. So that's what you're going up against if you're Patrick Mahomes, because I really do think that Pat is the only one. And it's based off of the start that he could have, but it's going to be a bumpy road for Patrick and the Chiefs as far as I'm concerned, because once Patrick's salary cap hit starts really hitting the Chiefs payroll towards like his late 20s, it is going to be really tough to bring in some top tier talent for the Chiefs to try to be able to compete for Super Bowl titles. I think they have a good system in place there, and hopefully they could be able to retain some of the key pieces like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and maybe some of the role players that they have on the offense. But at best, I think Patrick rivals what Tom Brady did, but as far as exceeding what Tom did, I don't think so. I think Tom, at this current moment in time, he has set the bar so high, I don't think anybody's going to be able to reach it. I just think that it's not impossible. I just think that Tom has made it an insurmountable challenge that I don't think anybody's going to reach. And I hope it doesn't come to a point where we start looking at the quarterbacks who have pretty solid careers who win Super Bowls, and we kind of look at them as like a disappointment because we're almost judging them by that Brady standard that he left behind. It's just, that's who these guys are playing against as far as the standard goes. And I think pretty much all of them, maybe except for 1 or 2, there may be guys down the road we don't even know yet who could possibly rival what Tom Brady did. But I think at this point, it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be really difficult to see if anybody can even come close to what he was able to do as far as Brady did throughout his career.